For years, viewers have known Eamonn Holmes as the broadcaster who never hides behind polished lines or rehearsed smiles. He is admired for his honesty, his humor, and the natural warmth that makes him feel more like a familiar friend than a TV figure. His straightforward nature is something audiences rely on. But even the most open people sometimes carry truths so heavy that speaking them aloud feels almost impossible. Recently, Eamonn faced such a moment, and when he finally found the courage to share his deepest feelings, his wife, Ruth, was left completely stunned. Those closest to Eamonn had sensed for months that something was weighing on him. Though he continued his work with professionalism and heart, there were brief flashes of vulnerability, tiny cracks in the usual confidence he carried so well. They appeared during live segments, in off-camera chats, and in the quiet corners of the home he shares with Ruth. She saw it all. She always did. But Eamonn, stubbornly determined to protect the people he loved, kept pushing forward. The confession arrived on an evening that was unusually quiet. That soft, still kind of evening where emotions seem louder and silence feels more honest. Ruth had known him long enough to recognize when his mind wasn't at ease. She approached him gently, the way only a partner with decades of love behind them can. She asked him if he wanted to talk. She wasn't prepared for what he was finally ready to say. Eamonn took a breath, as if bracing himself, and then admitted something he had been hiding, not only from Ruth, but from himself. He revealed the full extent of his emotional exhaustion. After years of managing physical discomfort, medical appointments, treatments, and the demanding nature of his career, he confessed that he felt overwhelmed in a way he could no longer ignore. His voice trembled as he explained that the constant effort to keep going, to remain strong, to pretend he was unaffected, had left him drained and frightened. He said he wasn't sure how long he could keep pretending to be the pillar everyone expected him to be. For a moment, Ruth was speechless. This wasn't the confident presenter adored by millions. This wasn't the man cracking jokes between interviews or making the camera crew laugh. This was her husband, the man she knew better than anyone, finally opening the door to the fears he had been carrying alone. Eamonn went on, admitting he had felt guilty for months. Guilty for slowing down. Guilty for needing more support. Guilty that Ruth had been balancing her own intense workload while also caring for him. He worried he was holding her back, even though she had never once said it, hinted at it, or even thought it. These fears had gnawed at him quietly, silently, until the weight became too much to carry. He told her that he had been terrified to say any of this out loud, terrified it would hurt her, terrified it would make her see him differently. But it didn't. Instead, the confession opened something between them, something raw, powerful, and incredibly meaningful. After a long, stunned pause, Ruth reached for his hand. Her eyes softened in a way that only love could create. She told him slowly and with emotion and every word that he had never been a burden. She reminded him that partnership wasn't built on perfection, but on honesty. That loving him through every triumph and every struggle wasn't a duty, it was the privilege of her life. Her voice wavered, but her message was steady. Those who know the couple say the conversation lasted deep into the night. The room filled with quiet tears, tender reassurance, and moments where they simply held each other without speaking. Sometimes silence becomes the best language for love. Eamonn shared fears he had hidden for years. Fears about his health, his future, and the pressure he put on himself. And for the first time, he allowed himself to release the emotional armor he had worn for far too long. The days that followed were transformative. Ruth stepped forward with renewed determination to guide him, not just as a partner, but as his emotional anchor. She encouraged him to put his well-being first, reminding him repeatedly that rest was not surrender, it was strength. She helped him slow down, urging him to breathe, to heal, and to let her help carry the weight he should never have tried to lift alone. Eamonn, in turn, felt a relief he hadn't experienced in years. The confession, painful though it was, lifted a burden from his shoulders. He began to understand that vulnerability wasn't the opposite of strength. Vulnerability was strength. And the moment he opened up, he began to reclaim a piece of himself he'd been losing. Their friends described the shift between them as remarkable. Even after decades together, Eamonn and Ruth found themselves renewed, more connected, more understanding of one another, more aware of the power of truth. Their relationship has always been admired for its authenticity, but now, with this emotional turning point, their story feels even richer. After all, real love is not best shown in perfect moments, but in imperfect ones, in the struggles, the fears, the nights spent holding each other quietly, choosing love again and again. Eamonn's confession didn't break them. It brought them closer than ever. It allowed Ruth to give him the reassurance he desperately needed. It allowed Eamonn to finally breathe without pretending. And it reminded both of them of the unshakable bond they had built long before careers, cameras, or fame ever entered their lives. For fans who have followed their journey through the years, this chapter offers a deeper look at who they truly are. A couple who doesn't just share a life, but protects it, nurtures it, and stands together through every storm. In the end, Eamonn's honesty didn't make him weaker. It made him human. It made their love stronger. And it reminded them both that the most powerful moments in life often begin with the courage to simply say, "I need you."